All right, welcome today to our webinar. My name is Liz Murphy, and I'm the Communications Director at the League of American Bicyclists. During today's 30-minute webinar, we're going to learn a bit more about the Youth Spokeswomen Mentorship Program, which grew out of a partnership between Bike Easy and NOLA Women on Bikes. Both, obviously, as you might have guessed by the names, are based out of New Orleans. The two organizations were awarded a mini grant from the League's Women Bike Program in 2014 to seed this great idea and program for women in New Orleans. So today is one of a series of webinars we've held over the past half year to learn a bit more about all the great ideas and programs that have used these mini grant funds to engage more women in bicycling. So today we're going to hear a bit more from Virginia Brisley with Bike Easy. She is the organization's school and community outreach coordinator. And we'll also be hearing from Maren Talkman, who is the co-founder of NOLA Women on Bikes, and she's also the owner of Dashing Bicycles and Accessories in New Orleans. So before we get started, I wanted to say a quick word about the League and about the Women Bike program. So the Women Bike program is aimed at creating pathways for women of diverse backgrounds to embrace biking as an everyday activity, to participate as riders, advocates, and leaders to create strong communities and celebrate the joy of riding a bike. And so one of the ways that the program has done that is through these mini grants, as a way to really push forward all the great ideas that are happening across the country in many communities like yours. So to kick things off, I wanted to say a quick word about the quick programming note. So at the very end, we'll leave some time after our presenters are finished for questions. So folks who are listening in, please feel free to type those into the questions drop down in your control panel. So you can add those as they come to you during the webinar, and I'll be moderating those questions at the very end with Virginia and Maren. So to kick things off, I will pass control over now to Maren and Virginia.
Thank you. We're so excited to be here with everyone. So this is Maren and
Virginia with Bike Easy.
And again, we are really thankful for this opportunity to tell you guys about our Young Spokeswoman program that we run down here. And so we're just going to go through basically a presentation outline right now just to give you guys an understanding of what we're going to cover. And then at the end, we're going to have some time for questions and dialogue, and look forward to hearing your thoughts and also pertinent questions of making a program like this happen, hopefully around the country in your own hometown. So if you can see on the screen, it says the presentation outline. First, we'll start with introductions of the three organizations that made the Spokeswomen partnership really happen through the Women Bike Mini Bike Grant. And then we'll get into kind of the background of the organizations quickly. And then we're going to really get into the Youth Spokeswoman Project here at Bike Easy, and who this young spokeswoman was and their relationship that they fostered here at Bike Easy with her. And then we'll tell you about what we learned and kind of recommendations that we have of replicating it, and then talk about our next steps. So as an introduction, NOLA Women on Bikes was started a few years ago in 2013 with a great mission to really break down barriers to biking for women and women-identified people all through Greater New Orleans. And we came up with three main goals, and one of them was to network and connect with each other more strongly around biking. Another was to offer great resources to better biking. And then the final one, which was really, really important to us, was to foster young people to become more active in the field of transportation, and specifically women of color who are really lacking in the transportation field with a presence. And we want to really one of our strongest focus is to raise that level of representation, and we are doing that through these young spokeswomen internships that we offer. So the other partnerships we had were with Bike Easy and the Youth Empowerment Project. So I will let Virginia talk about the kind of the Bike Easy background and also the Youth Empowerment Project.
Thanks, Maren. So Bike Easy's mission is to make biking safe, fun, and easy for everyone in New Orleans and the metro area. And we do that through education and encouragement and advocacy work. The Youth Empowerment Project mission is to reach at-risk youth in New Orleans and provide workforce development training and opportunities for the youth that they work with. And in terms of the intersection of all of our goals and objectives as organizations, this opportunity provided a really unique position to embed a youth voice into Bike Easy to increase the Youth Empowerment Project's ability to provide further opportunities for their graduates, and then for NOLA Women on Bikes to engage and empower a female-identified young person in the cycling culture of New Orleans.
So that's basically kind of covering the Venn diagram of love down here in New Orleans of Bike Easy, YEP we call it, and NOLA Women on Bikes. So kind of the building blocks are really of each organization's capacity and what we were able to take from each other to really make this one internship super exciting. So a couple of years ago, we had done a similar internship with 2 other young women working with the Youth Empowerment Project, and we had done that through just crowdsourcing money through IOBI, which is a nonprofit crowdsourcing platform. And we were able to raise money to hire 2 women, and we wanted to keep going, and so the Women Bike mini grant was available, and we thought that would be a great opportunity to really combine forces with Bike Easy, and then once again with the Youth Empowerment Project's Trafigure Work and Learn Center. And a little background of the Work and Learn Center is that's a really great youth program that happens here in New Orleans, where they give young people of all different backgrounds job training skills. They do certain classes, programming in terms of just regular education, but they also do a lot of workforce training, resume building, interviewing, and just placing people in internships throughout New Orleans. And so with those built inroads, Bike Easy and NOLA Women on Bikes both wanted to build their capacity with young people, and so we really found working with YEP such a successful opportunity, and also their openness to work with us was really exciting.
And the just to point out, the unique aspect of the Trafigura Work and Learn Center is that they run a youth-run bike shop. So they have youth mechanics and they have youth customer service representatives that help the neighborhood and other customers that come in with bike needs. And so that's kind of the context of that relationship. But basically, we developed a job description that would support Bike Easy's ongoing education and outreach initiatives while making certain there was flexibility built in to accommodate for the candidate's personal and professional interests. The idea was to have the spokeswoman assist Bike Easy with outreach programs, including bike light interventions, mechanics workshops, tabling opportunities, and community bike rides. And Bike Easy has state funding through the Highway Safety Commission to do events like this. So that was how we leveraged our ongoing programming to support the opportunities for our intern to have
activities.
Yeah. To have a work plan. So involving the youth spokeswomen in outreach activities fulfilled our organizational goals for public engagement while also fostering a next generation New Orleans bike advocate. And with only 2 full-time staff members, we really had to be realistic in terms of scheduling and structure for the internship. And based on that capacity, we knew we figured that we could adequately support the professional development of a young person while offering that dedicated staff supervision for approximately 2 to 4 hours a week for this role. And so with those parameters in place, we worked closely with YEP, the Youth Empowerment Project, to encourage female identifying applicants from their workforce development training efforts to apply to this role by submitting their resumes for consideration. And we knew they had resumes because as part of their training, as part of what YEP does, they make certain their graduates all have resumes. And we received 1 resume during the open call from Dejanay Curtis, who had recently completed the Youth Empowerment Project's customer service training program. And after interviewing Dejanay, who told us she preferred to be called by her nickname, Damu, we were excited to offer the position. She had actually participated in mock interviews previously with Naomi Durner, another founding member of NOLA Women on Bikes, and it was clear that she has passion for bicycling, she has passion for learning and gaining new skills, and it seemed like it would be a good fit. So that was great because we did only have 1 response to that call, but we did the due diligence in making certain it would be a good fit for our side organizationally and for her, because we wanted obviously her to get something out of the experience as well. And so after that process, we developed DAMU'S work plan collaboratively, and as I already stated, her role was mainly as support staff for program delivery, outreach efforts, and communications. And 1 staff member managed her schedule and supervised her progress, and that was me. And it's very important to note that this internship has been so successful because of that dedicated staff oversight, because I had the direct mentorship role and relationship building that occurred throughout her time working with us. I think it played a big part of the success of her role here. Another important thing to note to that success is the fact that my background and my previous experience is in youth programming and organizing, and that seems to be an important part in embedding a youth voice into our organization, was having previous experience working in that capacity. So the internship was March through July 2015, and because Bike Easy's programming has been expanding to new audiences while Damu increased her skill sets, we were able to continue to offer her ongoing work to further nurture a meaningful work and life experience. In terms of the logistics of her actual placement, her initial orientation included learning Bike Easy's road safety and community workshop curriculum. So she went through the training, and then through her outreach, she started training others, or at least doing outreach in public with others. And so she is in school. She started her senior year a couple weeks ago, and once school ended, last semester, Bike Easy was able to embed her with a Bike Explorers summer class at a partnering camp. And then because her interests and her passions were it was clear that she was enjoying herself, and she was growing and growing into this leadership role. She became the program assistant with another Bike Easy initiative throughout July, and the program was called it was a youth ambassador leadership training. So she was a peer leader with a group of young people in a similar capacity role. She came in initially doing outreach, and she was able to leverage her experience to become a leader in that program. So in terms of goal setting, DAMU'S goal when starting the internship was simple: to gain job skills. And at 16, there needed to be a balance between creating a structure for her to gain experience while giving her the latitude to identify her strengths and opportunities for growth. So that latitude of being able to find herself. She's still growing, and she's still in high school, and her willingness to learn and to be open to new things says a lot about her character and the type of woman she's growing into. Another important part, I think, to mention is maintaining that interest. We adapted her. We kept her goals, or we adapted her goals to fit her interests, and lifting up her assets while also challenging her to know when she's out of her comfort zone. And so, as you could see, these are the different programs and activities that she was able to participate in. And she really enjoys outreach, and we identified that together very early in her internship. So we made certain to schedule outreach and bike rides that she could participate in, that she would be available for. She's also a great writer, and so we encouraged her to take initiative to write about her experiences at Bike Easy. And to date, she's published 3 blog posts on the Bike Easy website. So in terms of lessons learned, I think I'm going to turn it over for Maren for the first bullet point.
Well, certainly the main thing that I think we all learned was how important it is to find that youth voice. And that was something that we really only started figuring out in this 3rd internship here at Bike Easy. And so in terms of that, as we have it listed, develop agreements and goals early in the partners' working relationships. And that was kind of the entry into this partnership amongst the 3, is really we want to encourage the youth voice. We want them to be engaged. We want them to feel engaged with all 3 organizations, and that they have access after the internship to more opportunities through these 3 organizations. And then in terms of the second thing, in terms of the partner expectations, is us all keeping an open dialogue, checking in with each other. As Bike Easy's capacity grew, we were able to check in and make sure that worked for both the Youth Empowerment Project and NOLA Women on Bikes, for all the other programming that each organization is doing. And it's just very exciting to see that Bike Easy was growing the youth programming at the same time that DAMU entered. And so it was kind of stars aligning in that way. And then certainly Virginia can speak on behalf of Bike Easy in that capacity.
Yeah, absolutely. And so a major lesson learned is in terms of the organizational capacities. And you want to make certain to build in staff time for specialized and dedicated oversight, because this is the type of situation that is unique to an employment situation. You're not employing an adult with adult expectations for fulfilling a job description. We have a job description for DAMU, and it was specific to the fact that she was supporting the programming. However, because she is a young person and still a minor, we had to be mindful of things like transportation planning and communication and logistics and soft skill building, all aspects of specialized management needed for a youth intern. And also maintaining, as I said before, maintaining an adaptive work plan for youth interns allows for the young person's passion to be encouraged, and also to challenge the young person to find their comfort zone in a work environment. So as I said previously, the expectations of working with an adult employee are very clear. We had clear expectations for DAMU. However, we also knew that this was an opportunity for her to gain new skills, and so being open to allowing her to articulate what those skills were that she is looking to really hone in on. And that's what makes this unique to in an employment situation. It's important for the young person to be directly involved in developing their work plan, to give feedback on their experience, and to maintain interest in their work. So in terms of the context and background, it's important to establish clear expectations for communication around scheduling, absences, etc. And so I found it very helpful to be in close communication with not only DAMU, but with her mother, because her mother was providing her with a lot of the transportation opportunities to get to the events. And not only her mother, she was also relying on public transit, but the point being having clear communication around the expectations, and that goes for any employee, I would say, as well. But because of the logistics and the fact that she is a minor, having that direct coordination was really important to make certain that we're providing the experience that she could really take something away from. Sorry. Yeah.
All right, so we're just going to sum it up. We're close to the end. So again, just recommendations. So it could be replicable in other areas. So as Virginia so poignantly said, really, working with DAMU and having Virginia's built-in capacity at Bike Easy to allow her time and also planning time to develop that was very was something that we would definitely recommend that other organizations build into their capacity. And then in terms of the bigger picture of the three organizations, it's really key to find three organizations that all wanted to do the same thing, and figuring out how to make that the most successful for all three, and how we can all co-promote each other's visions.
Yeah, and just to kind of wrap that thought up in terms of the recommendations for the direct oversight, establishing relationships with the adult allies of the youth interns if possible, and that means leveraging the organizations that do provide youth services and do have the organizational capacity that a bike advocacy group doesn't necessarily have embedded internally.
Yep, and then we're now going forward. Hold on, I have to. So, what's happening with No Woman on Bikes? That's a great question, and we are continuing to develop programming for workshops that are free throughout the community. And we're also looking forward to doing some more crowdsourcing and grant applications for more partnerships with the Youth Empowerment Project, Bike Easy, and other local nonprofit advocacy organizations dealing with active transportation. And we're hoping that that will continue on into 2016.
Yeah, and through the Youth Empowerment Project has offered their going forward notes, and I really appreciated this note. They're looking to create a resource guide about employing at-risk youth and youth in general for future partnerships, so that the success rate for those placements continues to increase, and to use those lessons learned from the previous placements to encourage more success going forward. And for Bike Easy, we're going to continue expanding a partnership with YEP and continue to secure funding for community-led initiatives, especially with youth. And the Youth Ambassador Program is one of the ways that we have continued that forward from DAMU'S internship. In terms of DAMU, she, as I said, she was a youth leader for us this summer. We have continued funding to keep her engaged and active in bicycle advocacy. She's also TS 101 trained and an extremely competent and savvy rider, and it would not at all be it wouldn't shock me in the least if she goes on to becoming an LCI in the next phases of her trajectory. And these are just a few resources online that we used to help shape the program and shape her experience and shape the programming that she was involved in. And then we are nearing the end and we have time for questions.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Virginia and Marin. On behalf of myself, this is such a cool program, and to see it sort of from beginning through was really neat. And I'll just mention again, folks, you can add your questions, type them into the question box area, and I can read them to our panelists here. While I wait for some of those, I wanted to ask you both, you talked a little bit about gathering feedback from DAMU herself. I'm curious if she provided any sort of specific examples or feedback directives for you all to chew on for expanding the program in the future.
That's a good question. I think that she hasn't provided specific recommendations in that regard. What she did do was provide specific feedback on her own progress, and what I have learned is that she is talking with her family and friends about her experience here at Bike Easy, and what that shows me is that it's making an impact on her in such a way that she's feeling compelled to share it. And in terms of staying relevant, maintaining her interests, her comments at very early on were that she enjoyed doing the bike light interventions, and she enjoyed being on bike rides. So I really made certain that her experience was not only going to incorporate those elements, but we were going to maximize that aspect of working here so that we can really hone in on what she cares about. And it turns out her passion is
Virginia, are you there? I think we lost you for a moment. Virginia? All right, well, giving them time to log back in. I'm gonna wrap things up, and
She's
there we
an
are.
advocate for that. Hello?
Virginia, are you there? Sorry, we lost you for a moment there.
Oh, no, we're back.
Okay, great. Sorry, if you want to continue your thought.
I was just gonna say I think a measure of success is that she's staying engaged, and we can we continue to call on her for events and activities, and she's willing and able and passionate about showing up for those.
That's great. My only other question, obviously working with youth has its own unique challenges and benefits. So I'm curious, in this context, what those challenges and benefits or really positive lessons learned were for you all.
I think the main thing that we were concerned about in terms of taking on young people is the transportation. A lot of the young people that attend the Youth Empowerment Project Work and Learn Center classes live very far from the center of the city. And so then adding requirements to show up at an internship that may have like on-site locations around the city was kind of a concern. And that was part of the job interview, was to really kind of sesh that out of, you know, being on time and understanding like that they may have struggles as well, just because our city is spread out, our public transportation, even though we tried to build that in and offer that as part of the stipend, it's not always the most convenient way for people to get around town. And we certainly have what we call gaps in the connection points because we live surrounded by water, so we have big bridges, and if kids live outside of the center, we just wanted to assess their transportation needs and make that a priority, and so it could be a priority for the success. And DAMU really proved that she was really focused on being part of Bike Easy, being part of the process, and she really prioritized with her mother and other family members to really show up, and that speaks like so strongly of her passion, I think, as well.
Yeah, and on the other side of that, and I talk about using your resources and leveraging the organizational capacities of all the partners. The Youth Empowerment Project is set up to provide bus tokens for the youth participants, and so making certain to also leverage that aspect of the transportation logistics planning was important. In terms of successes, I guess I would point to the fact that she became a youth leader in the Youth Ambassador program. She became a youth leader at the Bike Explorers summer camp. And one of the comments that she provided after the summer camp was that she sees herself as a leader because she can teach youth. She can be a voice of leadership and someone that young people can look up to because she has knowledge, she has skill sets that she's been developing. And for her to self-identify that and to want to take on a role as a mentor for people younger than her shows me that this was a successful mentorship.
And Damu just rocks, so yeah. We love her.
And she's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, that's great to hear. And we're about a little over time, so I think I will wrap things up now. And I just want to say thank you again so much to Virginia and Marin and to Bike Easy and NOLA Women on Bikes for presenting today and to doing this awesome program. Part of this webinar series is really to make these awesome ideas and programs available to other great minds across the country, So we're able to sort of replicate and, quote unquote, steal these ideas for a greater good. So thank you again to both of you and to both of your organizations for doing this awesome work. So I'm just going to quickly wrap things up and take the screen back so I can show folks a little bit where they can find more information on this program and some of the other programs that the Women Bike program at the League of American Bicyclists has funded through our mini grant program. So on our Women Bike page, bikeleague.org/womenbike, you can scroll down to our toolkit area and resources page. Tomorrow I will be posting a wrap-up with a recording of this webinar and also the written toolkit that Maren and Virginia put together for us, so you folks at home can really dig into how they set this program up and how maybe you can do the same in your community. So definitely keep an eye out for that. And I just want to say on behalf of the League and myself, thank you again to Virginia and Maren and to Bike Easy and NOLA Women on Bikes. And thank you for all of you for tuning in.
Thank you.